can you make sure that you tell everybody a little bit about your story of entering the business, who you are, what your background is, what really inspired you to link arms with Juice Plus, and then tell us a little bit about the product, and also a little bit about how you've built your business and you've built yourself to 12 Club.
Yeah, so basically I started this business 6 years ago. I wasn't looking at it as a business at all. It was really, I just absolutely loved the whole idea of the product. It really resonated with me. I was already, had been on a health journey for the last sort of previous 10, 12 years before that. So then when I came across Juice Plus, I was like, oh my God, light bulb moment, and definitely want this product. However, I was 8 months pregnant with my second, and I already had another business. So I was really not interested at all in the business side of things, but I did want to share the product with my friends. And so because I was already sharing with my friends, Nat and Carla were like, no, come on, you just got to do the business as well. And so I sort of jumped in and really got to SDVF in that month before Talia was born. And then after that, I really took a back step, and it was really just in the next sort of 4 or 5 years, I was just really building up my customer base. And I really loved the product, but I did have my other business on the side. And then it came to like, I wasn't really treating it like a business. I was just looking after my customers. And then Natasha actually was like, is there a business attached to this? And I was like, yeah, there is. So I told her a little bit about the business, and she jumped on board. And then again, and the same thing happened again with Sophie, and then it just sort of snowballed, and ended up having quite a few people interested in the business. And so I also discovered the power of residual income as opposed to exchanging time for money. And yeah, then I really caught the vision of Juice Plus, but I was a little bit of a slow learner to start. And yeah, now absolutely love it. So yeah, that's a little bit about my story. Did you want anything more than that? Good. Awesome. I really love what Tamara said about not having to be an health expert to talk about this product. Because really, I think the biggest thing about this product is just keeping it simple. It actually is only just fruits and vegetables in a capsule. We don't really need to know too much more than that. When you get questions or objections or anything like that, just ask people, you know, tell me a little bit more about that, understand where they're coming from. And if it's a question you don't know, it's just a simple matter of going, oh, that's a great question. You know what? I'll get back to you on that one. So we're not expected to know everything. So I think I just wanted to start off with, you know, clarifying that as well. So tonight, I don't want it to be like a just product event. I wanted to really just talk about some of the aspects of Juice Plus that we might not really necessarily know, or we don't usually talk about. So this is more a bit more of the behind the scenes stuff of Juice Plus. So first of all, I thought the most appropriate place to start was really where Juice Plus came from, like what was the conception of Juice Plus. And so it all started in 1980. Imagine you were on a trip, a work trip, doing conferences and things, and then you get the dreaded phone call. And this is what happened to Smokey. He got the phone call, and his father had just been admitted to hospital with a massive spleen. Like it was really, really enlarged to the point where he actually needed a belt to hold it up. They actually diagnosed him with lymphoma, which is a cancer of the lymphatic system, and he went downhill quite quickly. So basically they did chemotherapy with him, and they operated on him and got rid of the spleen, and that didn't work. After 3 weeks of the chemotherapy and the surgery, they actually came to him and to his mum and said that basically, unfortunately, that was all that they could do. He had 3 weeks left to live. So at this stage, Smokey, who was a naturopath by trade, actually said to his dad, look, could I just take you to my clinic and I'll treat you? And his dad was, yeah, absolutely, I would love that. So he took him to his clinic, and the problem was he couldn't eat and he couldn't drink. So he was really stuck with, okay, how am I going to give my father massive amounts of nutrition without him being able to even ingest anything. So what he did initially was he actually got olive oil and was just rubbing that into his skin to be able to get good fats into him. He was juicing vegetable juices, and he was actually using them as enemas in him so that the nutrients could get absorbed through the bowel. He also tried to do fruit juices with him that way, but the fruit actually made him really, really sick, and he couldn't actually handle any fruit juices at all. And of course, we know sugar actually feeds cancer, so the sugar in the fruit didn't agree with him. So that's all he did initially, and after a little while, he was actually able to put on 13 kilos over a 2-month period, and that was without eating anything at all. Slowly, he was able to start to take a little bit of water, and so what Smokey was sort of thinking was, I need to be able to get massive amounts of nutrition into him, and the juicing, you can only get so much in. And so what he decided to do was start to dry fruit powders and vegetable powders. And so he had drying units all around his office, and was basically drying these powders for him. And so slowly he was getting better and better. Then eventually he got to the point where he could have fruit powders again, very small amounts, and he was monitoring because of the pH in his urine, making sure it didn't turn too acidic. But he was able to continue on with this nutritional program, and after 3 months of the dried juice powders, he was actually able to get up and remodel Smokey's kitchen. So they then continued on with the dried juice powders, and he was able to start eating. So he started eating large amounts of vegetables, soaked sprouts and seeds and nuts. And then after 6 months, he actually went back to work again as a carpenter, and did so for the next 6 years. So Smokey was actually convinced that if his father hadn't had his spleen removed and hadn't been given such high doses of chemotherapy, then he may have actually lived that little bit longer as well, but that's something you'd never know. But from his father's recovery, he really discovered the hidden healing power of whole foods. So he began to study all the different fruits and vegetables known to man. And what he was looking for was the ones that had the most concentrated amounts of nutrients in them. And what he found was that not all vegetables and fruits were the same. And the most nutrient-dense ones were the ones that people didn't really eat very much of. Or if they did eat, they would cook it, like they would steam it. So, and that's mainly like things like parsley, beets, cabbage, and broccoli. So then what he did is he started making powders out of these particular vegetables, and he started giving these little bags of powder to all his clients, because he was a naturopath. And what he found, that all his clients started having all these amazing results and healing really well from all their different ailments. So he knew that he was onto something really big at that stage. So that's when, years down the track, he partnered up with NSA. It took a long time to get the process that they've now got to make Juice Plus. And that's really how it all started. So it started from wanting to make a difference for his father and his health. It then went on to his patients, and now it's gone really global. And so I just love the story because it shows what an impact one person can make on the lives of so many, and how much this is really a health movement that we've got. It's not just about one person. It's not about healing, one person. It's really that then goes on to the family, it goes on to the community and the friendships, and then it goes global. And now in over 30 different countries, we're really making a massive difference on a global scale. So the one thing, so basically I just wanted to share that, ripple effect, absolutely, with what our product can actually do for people. So now where Juice Plus is grown is on the San Andreas fault line in California. Now, the reason why it's there, that they've chosen to grow, is because it's massively rich in nutrients. So for our soils in Australia, we've got one of the oldest soils in the world in WA, and we've got very little nutrients on the San Andreas fault line in California. So we've got very little nutrients in our soil. We've only got about 4 different nutrients. On that fault line, you've got volcanic ash soil that has got 17 different nutrients. So we've got a really, really powerful base to then grow our fruits and vegetables. Now, they're grown by 3rd and 4th generation organic farmers. Now, we're not certified organic, and the reason behind that is that you think the quantity of fruits and vegetables and produce that we need is massive. And, the nature of fruits and vegetables is very seasonal. So the majority of our product is organic, but sometimes we may need to put in a little bit of stuff that's not organic because we might have to source from elsewhere if there's not enough produce. But in saying that, it's tested to 1/1,000,000th of a particle to make sure it's fungicide-free, herbicide-free, pesticide-free. It's the most cleanest produce that you could ever have. So once it's been grown on these volcanic soils, it's actually vine ripened. And this is another thing that's really important, because you get our fruits and vegetables in the markets now or in the supermarkets, and they've been cold stored for such a long time. And when they're cold stored, we haven't got the amount of nutrients in there. The majority of the nutrients come to our fruits and vegetables in the last 3 days of the ripening process. So that's why it's so important to have vine ripened fruits and vegetables. So Juice Plus is vine ripened, and then it's taken at its peak of nutrition, and that's why all the bugs like it at that late stage. They won't touch it before that because they know that the nutrients are in there. Then it's taken to a juicing facility nearby, and there it's actually pulped. So we've got the seeds, we've got the skin, we've got everything in there, all those different nutrients pulped, and then it's put into like a large sort of vat, as Tamara likes to call it, a Thermomix. And what it does is it spins around and it gets rid of all the sugar content and the water content out of it. So all you're left with is this really highly densely concentrated sludge, which is then dried at near freezing, which is again really important because we want all those live enzymes to be intact. So Juice Plus is classed as a live food. And in fact, the TGA have actually classed it as a whole food medicine because of the amount of research that is backing our product. So as you know, we've now got 38 different gold standard peer-reviewed studies, and I'm not going to go into the study side of things because I think we've got lots of other trainings on this particular studies. But what I did want to touch on is just the difference between Juice Plus and synthetic vitamins. And this is what really got me into being passionate about Juice Plus, was that at the time I was taking a synthetic vitamin. I had 30 different isolated segmented vitamins in there. Then I looked at Juice Plus. When you've got a single apple that's got over 500 different nutrients in there, you're actually better off having an apple a day than what you are having any sort of multivitamin in the market. And the thing with the multivitamins in the marketplace is that they're all in their isolated, segmented, made in a lab, which your body doesn't recognize. So if you're taking a vitamin C tablet, your body isn't actually able to absorb that vitamin C as well as if you're having an orange. If you have an orange, it's all the other phytonutrients and minerals and things that work synergistically together to absorb that vitamin C into your system, and your body knows what to do with it. So I just found out about food synergy the other day. Has anyone heard of food synergy and known anything about it? No? So this is the best way of describing it is 1 + 1 = 3. So when you've got a tomato has a certain amount of nutrients. Broccoli has a certain amount of nutrients. So you would think that you put a tomato and broccoli together and that would equal 2. But in actual fact, you combine that tomato and that broccoli together and you've actually got more phytonutrients in that combination than the separate amounts. So it's and it's the same with citrus foods. You mix citrus foods with dark green leafy vegetables, and you've got that combination is really good for iron absorption. So you're able to absorb iron. By themselves, nothing. But together, it helps you absorb iron from your other sources. So that's why, even though Juice Plus doesn't actually contain any iron, I've had quite a number of customers being able to stop having iron transfusions and have normal iron levels for the first time in their lives, because the Juice Plus is actually allowed their body to absorb iron for the first time. Also, just as if you guys are wanting really good resources to have a listen to, if you haven't looked at the Juice Plus Medline Impact Score video, I highly recommend that. It's basically saying how the Juice Plus product is the most researched nutraceutical in the world, but also that it's one of the highest rated so in the Medline Impact Score. So if you want to know more about that, then please do read that, listen to that. The other one training that I really highly recommend is Noreen McDonald. She did an amazing training when she first came on board as a Juice Plus consultant, and she's a naturopath. And she did a really good training on just knowing, you know, if you're having a synthetic vitamin into your body, what that can actually do is affect so many other different levels within your body if it's not right for you. So, and there's so much other great info. So if you're wanting a little bit more resources, then definitely go and check both of them out. So, Juice Plus products. So we're dairy-free, vegan, kosher certified. The capsules are tested 1 part per 20 million to be gluten-free. Now, the one thing that I wanted to touch on that you might not know about as well is that Juice Plus is fortified. So what that means is that we've got all the fruits and vegetables in there. And then we've also got 6 different kind of like other toppers that we've had to put in of individual vitamins. Now, the reasoning for this is that Juice Plus, unfortunately, has had a lot of unique problems because we're the first fruits and vegetables or supplement that is actually classed as a food. So we've got a food label. So in the US, it's really hard to label Mother Nature, but in the US, to meet the government standards and rules for the US and also for around the world, we have to have, well, this is a US protocol, they have to have standardized 4 vitamins and 2 minerals in the Juice Plus product, and that's for every food product. So it's only 6, and they've had to choose 6 vitamins and nutrients that out of over 12,500. So it's less than 0.02%. But basically what they've had to do is they've had to say, okay, for those 6, we need to have this particular level. And of course, with fruits and vegetables, like, you know, you might have one apple here that has 5 grams of vitamin C, and then this apple next to it might have 4 grams of vitamin C. So that's where we need to have a little bit of a top up sometimes to have those 6 ingredients meet the guidelines for the US. I think that's about it for that. Any questions about that? I think that's pretty straightforward. So we've got the chewables. I think they're pretty self-explanatory. I don't think we need to go too much into them. The sweetener is organic tapioca syrup and cane sugar syrup. We've got no high fructose corn syrup in there. The gummy is made from fruit pectins, not gelatin. It's got the equivalent amount of sugar as half an orange. And it's the only gummy in Australia that is not classed as a confectionery, which I think is pretty special. The child health study, I just wanted to touch on, we know the results of the child health study, but also just to be aware that when we're talking to customers about it, that we're actually getting better results. If you have a look at the graphs, you're actually getting better results the longer they're on the product. So at the 3-month mark, and then the 1-year mark, and then the 3-year mark, every single time those percentages are going up. So it just reinforces that we really need to have that stacking effect of the Juice Plus in our system to really see the long-term effects of what it does within our body. It's not a quick fix. Okay. Now, So that's probably it for the now I wanted to move on from the micronutrition of the capsules. So basically the premium pack is your micronutrition, and it took me a long time to get my head around this micronutrition, macronutrition. But basically micronutrition means that it's on a cellular level. So we're building, we're repairing, and we're protecting the cells. Now macronutrition, which is your complete, is your protein, carbs, and fats. So that's your food for fuel. So we've got the food for fuel, which runs the body, and then you've got the stuff that actually feeds your cells. Now, the complete is 100% natural, plant-based, vegan, nothing artificial. It does contain B12 for your vegans. It's got a low GI rating, and also the organic cane sugar and stevia that is used in our product has a high nutrition content, and it's not been sprayed or bleached. It doesn't contain any glucose at all. Now we've got 2 different fibre blends in the complete. We've got insoluble fibre, which is for your colon health, and you've got soluble fibre. Now soluble fibre stabilises blood sugar. It slows down breakdown and release of sugar in the blood. We've also got in there a prebiotic, which aids in the population of good bacteria in the colon. We've got pomegranate powder, which is great for heart health. Spirulina, now this is a blue-green algae, and where we source ours from, it's grown in Hawaii from the oldest continually harvested spirulina in the world. So as with everything within our Juice Plus range, we're only sourcing the highest quality of ingredients. Then we've got the yucca, which helps with inflammation as well. Then we've got our sprout blend, which is broccoli, alfalfa, and radish sprouts. Now these are your micronutrients and really, really concentrated phytonutrients. They help protect against disease, and they protect DNA. We've got your organic amaranth in there, and now this is a balanced protein, carbon, fat, and it's a good energy food. You've got your quinoa in there, which is good for your amino acids, and your millet, which is great for heart health. So it's actually quite incredible the amount of nutrition that is in the complete shakes, and that's why I wanted to spend a little bit more time on this tonight, because I think it does get a little bit glossed over sometimes. Now, the protein in complete is plant-based protein, of course, from water-washed soy, peas, chickpeas, tofu, and rice. Now, I really want to touch on the difference between complete powders and protein powders, you know, the whey protein powders, because I think this is something that we really need to get across ourselves so that we feel confident when we're sharing it with people, you know, so that we can say it's actually a lot better alternative than your protein powders. So your protein powders are made from whey protein, which aren't as clean as plants. Plant protein is bioavailable, which means that you get better muscle growth out of that. Your whey protein powders have lots of fillers. They have lots of so much stuff. If you have a look at the ingredients for those protein shakes, they're actually quite toxic. And then you look at our ingredient list, and it's not only giving you protein, but it's giving you massive amounts of nutrition that's flooding into your body, as well as for your workout. So whey protein is a byproduct of milk and cheese. So it's the whey skimmed off the top of that process, and it was actually a byproduct of milk and cheese that they didn't actually know what to do with that byproduct. And so that's where they decided to make it into a protein powder. And so it's very processed and not very natural at all. Now, of course, dairy also leads to inflammation within the system. So not only is it not giving you great nutrition, but it's also causing inflammation within the body as well. Now, I wanted to touch a little bit on soy, because sometimes there's a lot of people that have maybe some concerns around soy. So the soy we use is water washed. I think the problem with a lot of other soy products is that they've got, they're very highly processed, and we've also got to be really careful that soy is not from genetically modified sources. So Ours is completely GMO free. The water washing process actually increases the protein content, and it's low processed, obviously. Also, the crops where we get them from are rotated, so you're getting maximum nutrition from your soy as well. The plant-based isoflavones within soy help cardiovascular health, they help your immune system, and they help reduce inflammation. There was a study done in March 2009 by JAMA, and what they did was they studied women with breast cancer, and they put them on a soy food consumption diet. And what they found was that it decreased their risk of reoccurrence of breast cancer, and it also increased their health markers. There was another nutrition review in 2013 that found that soy possibly impedes the actual growth of cancer or the development of cancer, which is pretty huge as well. So in Japan, they're eating 30 to 35 grams a day of soy. In our complete, we've only got 11 grams, so it's very safe and very healthy. Okay, so going on to the omegas. Omegas are fatty acids that have been shown to support a broad array of health benefits, especially for the heart, brain, and eyes. And it also reduces inflammation within the system. Now, the nervous system, again, so the nervous system actually is the body's transport system for the brain to the rest of the body. So all the brain's messages need to go through the nervous system to communicate with every single cell and organ within your body. So now the nervous system is actually made up 80% of a myelin sheath, and that's made up of essential fatty acids. And omega-3 is absolutely essential for the lubrication of the myelin sheath. So that will ensure the effective smooth transition. So you can see that it's actually a really big deal to have these good fats in our diet, because it will actually affect every single function within your body. Our Western diet, we don't have a lot of omega-3s in our diet, so that can lead to a lot of different chronic diseases such as obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. So it's something that is an essential part that we're not really getting. So in our product, of course, we've got the pumice seed granite oil, the raspberry seed oil, the sea buckthorn berry oil. Now, that one I wanted to look up because I have no idea what it is, but it's a small orange berry grown in the remote regions of the Himalayan mountains, and it's incredibly nutritious, and it's actually really growing in popularity as well. We've then got the tomato seed oil, the safflower seed oil, and the algae oil. Now, the algae oil is really what makes our product so special, because it's grown specifically for us, and it's rich in the DHA and EPA content. And fish actually get their DHA and EPA from eating algae. So that's why we say that we're cutting out the middle fish. We're going straight to the source. The algae that we get is grown in a controlled, contained environment that's completely free of contaminants. It's minimally processed. All our oils are minimally processed. The seed oils, they use a similar process that olive oil uses. So for the extra virgin olive oil, the high quality ones, so that's the sort of same process that we use for that. The sea buckthorn berry oil is actually extracted using liquid CO2. And what that allows is the extraction of the oil from the berries without damaging them through the use of harsh chemicals or the release of toxins either into the environment or into the product itself. The algae oil is processed using a molecular distillation, and the process that separates the smaller molecules of DHA and EPA, again without damaging the oils or releasing any toxins. Now, the thing that makes our capsules really unique is that they are fused together using a proprietary technique that uses only water instead of heat. Now, this is huge because basically what it means is that because we're delivering it in using lower temperatures, it means that we're keeping the integrity of the oil and that the oils aren't actually degrading. Now, also just to let everyone know, just because it is a new product, I guess, is that it is suitable for kids. So up until the age of 13, a child can take one capsule if they can swallow. My daughter can't swallow, so she's just been taking it, and because they've got it vanilla oil in there. Then it's really easy. It's like a nice tasting one as well. So she just actually bites it and sucks it out and then throws away the capsule. So just to be aware. And then also I know a lot of people are starting to use it for their skin as well. So just a little prick in the end, and one capsule actually lasts you probably about 5 days. So yeah, you can try that out as well. So there will be some research coming out on the omegas in early 2019. Well, early 2019 will be the earliest that it will come out. It won't be standalone research just on the omegas, just like the berry blend. We wouldn't do a study just on the berry blend because it's really about having the whole picture of health. So it will be studied in conjunction with the premium pack. Now, the last thing that I wanted to end up on, how am I going on time? Am I going really well? Oh, no, I've gone over. Sorry. The last thing I wanted to finish up with was just a study that was done by MD Anderson Cancer Centre. Now, this is a published study that compared the 2 diets of ovarian survivors. So in diet 1, we had the survivors eating 10 different fruits and vegetables every single day. Now, as you can imagine, they did find it really difficult to do, and they found it for ovarian cancer, yes. And they found it really difficult to keep motivated while keeping with this diet. Now, diet 2, they gave the survivors 5 serves instead of 10 of the fruits and vegetables daily, but they also gave them the premium pack and they gave them the complete. Now, what they found was that diet 2 had exactly the same results as diet 1. So it just goes to show that Juice Plus really does bridge that gap from what we should be eating every day to what we actually are eating every day. So I hope you found something useful in there.
Well, Neeks, I got to tell you, I'm officially retiring. You've got the centre stage from now on, my friend. That was unbelievable. There was so much information, lots of interesting, curious little facts, and it was brilliant. There was some great questions asked as well. Neeks, I'm just going to